You ready, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah. Being the appointed hour, I hereby call this regular Historic Preservation Commission meeting to order. Can we have a roll call?
Yes, certainly. Richard Parsons. Here. Molly Bales.
Here.
Jim Morrison.
Here.
Gregory Rush.
Here.
Ross Beebe.
Here.
Trip Ure.
Here.
Michael Wika.
Here.
Tim Thompson.
Here.
And John Schmid.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, very good. And to those of you who are regulars, you'll note we've got two new members, Ross Beebe and John Schmid. And I'm sure you can recognize who they are. So we welcome them tonight to their first regular meeting.
Yeah, they have name tags.
And they have name tags. Next item on the agenda will be elections. And what I would like to do is we'll first have a nomination process for chair. We'll conduct that vote and settle that matter. Once the new chair has been identified, I will switch places, and then the new chair will conduct the election of vice chair. And that's the way we've customarily done that in the past. So any questions from commissioners? All right, so with that being said, let's open the floor for nominations.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Jim Morrison. Jim has been on the board for a long time. He's very knowledgeable about the guidelines, and I think he would, because he was involved with some of the updates before, and we're going to be going through an update in the next year or so, I think he would be a great chair. So I nominate Jim Morrison.
Okay.
I second it.
Do nominations get seconded? Yes. Okay. So we have a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations for chair? Do we have, since I guess this is very formal, a motion to close the nominations? So moved. Have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of closing the nomination for chair, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. So we have one candidate. I guess there are two ways to go about this. Can we have a motion of acclamation, I would guess, that our one candidate be chair?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I worked with Jim for 10 years on the HBC. I think he's very qualified for this position. Being a former banker, he understands the importance of rules of procedure. In fact, Jim and I drafted and finalized the rules of procedure that we're pretty much working on now. Jim has always been a spokesman as far as trying to be reasonable and thoughtful about what we do. So I think he would make an excellent chair.
Well said.
Very good. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So with that said, take my name tag.
Many years in this seat, many years.
Oh yeah, it's a good spot down in that corner. Let's see.
I think that's yours too.
Nah, this is
Okay. So no, that's him.
stuff from sign at the end.
I cannot turn anything off.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate the kind comments.
Congratulations.
And now, second item will be nominations for vice chair. And I'd like to open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Mike Wonka as the vice chair. He has been on the HPC about a year. Very quick learner, understands what it is we're trying to do. He has a direct stake in the guidelines and in the HPC since he owns a historic property in the downtown historic district. Mike is a trained engineer. He was also an assistant city attorney for, I believe, 25 years.
Not attorney, manager.
I'm sorry, city manager, sorry. Assistant city manager for about 25 years, so he understands, the administrative aspects, he understands ordinances, he understands what we're trying to do with the guidelines. So I think he would be very useful to you as the chair, to have him as your vice chair.
Certainly agree. Are there any other nominations? Is there a motion nominations be closed?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Then shall we, by
Wait,
acclamation?
did we get a second to the
Yes.
nomination?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Since we have one candidate, shall we have another acclamation nomination?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So congratulations. Thank you again.
Thanks. Thanks.
And I'm going to really rely on Mike, just what Tim talked about, is his history with city management. And we really want to make sure we stay in compliance with everything. As he said, I was a banker. We had a few laws that we had to comply with. And so I'm very attuned to that. I read a lot. I read a lot of state statutes and local ordinances. And so I think his help will be immensely helpful over the next year. We'll have elections again next July, as per the rules of procedure. So with that, we'll move on to the remainder of the agenda. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I think that there are some residents here looking to talk about 500 Queen Street. And as you know, that's likely to be postponed because we're not ready to hear them yet.
Well, it has been formally continued to tonight.
Yeah, but because they're probably still need a special use permit, which hasn't been granted yet. So if there are people in the audience who are looking for the 500 Queen Street, you're certainly welcome to stay, but that probably won't be discussed tonight because their special use permit has not been granted yet, and so we won't be hearing that.
It should be looked at the next Board of Adjustment hearing, I believe, which is usually the fourth Wednesday of the month, I believe.
It generally is the fourth Thursday of the month.
Thursday.
Yes, sir.
So apologize for that, but we will not likely bring it up tonight. I don't see the applicant or his representative here tonight, so it wouldn't be fair to have testimony that he couldn't rebut.
So, Mr. Chairman, it may be helpful to know that in preparing the agenda for tonight and knowing that application would be continued because the permitting was not in place, I suggested that staff notify the applicant and let them know that they need not attend.
Did that occur?
Makes sense.
Mr. Shelley?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. So if you choose to stay, you're very welcome. We don't have a long agenda tonight, so it's better than many. If not, you're welcome to leave. So we'll make that adjustment to the agenda and not consider 500 Queen Street.
Well, you will have to decide
We'll
to continue it again.
Correct.
Okay,
But we
so
won't
you can't
consider,
remove it.
we won't consider discussion for
Okay.
500 Queen Street. And we have no presentations of certificates of appreciation, is that true?
Not this month, probably next month.
Okay. And now approval of written decisions. Are there any?
There are no
items
written
on the-
decisions. The consent agenda consists of the one set of meeting minutes this month.
And the meeting minutes, did you all have a chance to review those? That was the meeting that was canceled because of weather. If you have no objections, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearings on certificate of appropriateness. Before we have our hearings, we always introduce what happens at a hearing, and I'll go through that fairly briefly, but the Historic Preservation Commission is a public commission appointed by the City of New Bern's Board of Aldermen and is responsible for preserving and safeguarding New Bern's locally designated historic districts, both downtown and Riverside. Based on the U.S. Department of Interior standards, state statutes, city ordinances, and New Bern's historic district guidelines and standards. Two of the major tasks include improving applications for a certificate of appropriateness and preventing demolition of historic structures due to neglect. The HBC holds quasi-judicial hearings on an application for a certificate of appropriateness, hears sworn testimony and evidence provided by the applicant, by parties who receive notice of the hearing, and by any others who can justify that they have relevant evidence and are directly affected by the application. The Commission cannot consider comments based on personal likes or dislikes, hearsay, or personal opinion that cannot be directly related to specific historic guidelines or standards, and likewise, commissioners shall refrain from stating personal opinion, personal likes or dislikes, or hearsay during a hearing. The Commission's decision on an application is based solely on testimony and evidence presented at a hearing that directly relates to historic guidelines and standards. With that said, would anyone plan to present evidence tonight? The applicants need to.
Yes.
Okay, you need to be sworn in. Anyone who chooses to speak? For any testimony, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
State your name and your address.
While they're doing that, the hearing process is in this series of steps. The administrator first provides an overview of the application. The applicant or representative presents the application or adds information that the administrator may have not included. Proponents and opponents who receive notice of the hearing can present evidence. Those are people that received notice were within 100 feet of the house or property. Rebuttal is allowed by the applicant and by proponents and opponents who receive notice. Others who can justify they have relevant information and will be directly affected can present evidence. The HBC administrator then presents the staff's findings and recommendations. The applicant or representative has an opportunity to make final comments on the application, and then the commissioners discuss the evidence and may ask for clarification from the applicant or the presenters. The chairman calls for a motion to approve or deny the application with stated findings of fact and any conditions that may be added. The chairman calls for a vote on the motion by the commission. It can be approved, approved with conditions, or denied. With that said, then, the first item, Mr. Shelley.
Sure.
1219 National Avenue.
Yes.
And this was a continued hearing for issues about the setbacks because we did not have accurate data on the setbacks in the two blocks that were involved, both on National Avenue and B Street. And the city ordinance says that the setbacks are determined to be within a zone of the maximum and minimum setbacks of all the properties on that block, on both sides.
That's correct. Okay, so what we're looking at here is the application. And you can see the owner's name here, Thomas L. Edwards Construction Incorporated. They are here today. And we have their description of the project, the guidelines that they say are not applicable, and the rest, because it's all attached in the PowerPoint. They provided all the other information, and you can see they've signed and dated.
And I will ask, the zoning administrator now has provided the information we did not have last time, correct?
Well, yeah, the surveyor has provided the information.
So there's no zoning issues we're aware of?
That's correct. So right now we're starting with the zoning and inspections report before we do everything else. And it does say that a zoning permit will be required. This is just a standard house, so there's no special use permit required for this. And the chief building inspector says, of course, a new house will require a building permit. So we went over a lot of this the last time, but we'll try and go through this real quickly for our new members, as well as perhaps the people in the audience here, the public. So this is the site here on National Avenue, corner of National Avenue and B Street. And the closer up view, it's currently vacant, has some trees on it, and it has neighbors immediately to the north side there, and then also to the west side on the left. Then last time also we showed a whole series of street view shots giving you an idea of the condition of the site and the conditions of the surrounding properties around the site, and we went over these the last time. These are neighbors across the street to the left, or to the, I guess it would be to the east. And then immediately across the street, National Avenue. And then down the street on National Avenue, the house on the right is immediately across from the site along B Street, and the one on the left behind the bush or tree there, that's white, is the second house, and then you see a third house is there as well. Then immediately across the street, B Street, the house on the corner has a garage along B Street. And then the next two houses next to the garage are these two houses. And then across the street, on the same side of the site on B Street, are these two houses. These are actually the second and third lots from the site. The second one being on the one in the middle, and the one on the left is the third lot from the site. The first lot from the site is actually vacant, or actually corrected, has the building in the background on it. And so the site then is the green space to the right of that, behind those, I guess we call it a sparse row of trees. These are the measurements that were provided to us for the front yard setback that was just referenced. And then this is the final survey that was produced using those measurements. And so to point out here, the setbacks are shown here as a minimum and a maximum dimension based on those measurements that were taken. So along National Avenue, the minimum is 38.44 feet. And the maximum is 65.08 feet, and those are measured from the back of the curb, not from the property line, because we don't know what property lines are on all the other lots on the block, so we use a standard either sidewalk or curb measurement. And then on B Street, the maximum and minimum are down here at the top of the page on the left here, a minimum of 22.52 feet from the back of the curb, or a maximum of 50.3. And so they've drawn the dashed lines across here, so you can see that the house is located within that range along B Street. And then same thing along National. It's actually about as far forward as it can come on National, but within the correct and allowable area location. All right, I'm going to make this now a little smaller. Okay, a lot smaller. This happens to be the foundation plan on the left. National Avenue's on the bottom. In the front porch here, it's foundation. But the main thing to notice is the garage is in a line with the closest face of the house along B Street. And then the section on the right is their standard typical section for the house. To notice here is the brick facing on the concrete block foundation. So that is a requirement. All right, then this is their floor plan. Which shows then out front there's a covered porch, covered open porch, has railing around it and steps right down the middle. And other than that, that's more significant things. Also, separation between the building and the garage is 8 feet. So that's another requirement. Then this is the second floor. Not really anything to talk about there. Although the house does end up looking like a 1.5-story structure because they use dormers for the windows as opposed to a actual full second floor. But here we see these are the side elevation. I'm sorry, the back and the front elevations. So let's start with the front down here at the bottom. Here we see the front porch and what it will look like. I'll actually make it bigger since we can. And there you go. So the entire foundation is wrapped with brick, as mentioned in the section, but also the porch's foundation and the actual steps to the porch are all brick. Then the corners and the columns for the structure for the roof of the porch are brick piers that are elevated higher, and then there are the kind of arts and crafts style of, let's see, what is that called? Anyway, almost like pyramidal shaped columns. We have a front door with side lights and a small transom. That helps it match up with the windows, the tops of the windows. All the windows are vertical, you can see. And the siding is all hardy board siding, and you can see we have different size trim pieces, such as the what they call band board or the skirt board at the bottom here. The corner boards are 1x6. The band board is 1x8. And then the roofing is asphalt shingle. Let's see, I think that's about it for now on that one. Whoops, sorry, I guess I should do the back while I'm on that page. So the back, this is actually the, let's say if the garage door is the front, this is the left side of the garage that we're looking at here. And there's a window in the upper area. And then the back of the house has a screened back porch, and as required, they have put the screening inside the columns and handrails for the porch. There's the screen door here and the steps going up to that, and everything else is pretty much the same in terms of comments for that. All right, so we'll go to the next sheet, which is the side elevations. So this is looking from B Street. So the right-hand side, this is the front porch. And you can see the steps coming up there, and they are enclosed as we've required in the past. And you can see all the various windows and trim. And for this portion of the house that's extends out farther, there's a special shed roof on top of that. The attic has a gable vent at the top. This is the breezeway. The 8-foot separation between the two is a breezeway. There is a roof over that extends to the garage. And then we can see the two garage doors, the exterior lights that are proposed for that. Oh, and to note also is that all of the foundation portions have a recessed section of the brick to emulate the historic recessed brick portions throughout the historic district. Then we have the other side facing the neighbor on that side. And we have then, so of course the front's on the left. And then we have vertical windows and a square window, which is also allowed. Then all the various roof forms you can see from the side. But similar to the other side, the rear porch is a bit of a wraparound rear porch for a small bit. And so you can see it that on this elevation as well. This then is the back of the garage here. So one of the things we were requesting was none of the drawings were showing the fourth side of the garage nor the side of the house that was cut off from the other elevation. So they provided that here. So this is the fourth side of the garage. It's nothing to write home about, but we have the entry door and the siding and the brick continues all the way around all four sides of the garage. And then for the house itself, again, you can see this is that roof connection for the breezeway, and you can see everything else is pretty much the same, and now you can see the stairway that was hidden by the garage before. All right. So these were some slides that were prepared for previous discussion. We can refer to, they're in here to refer to them if necessary, but I think we've already gone through all that about the setbacks and the location of the garage. Oops, whoa, what happened? Sorry about that. Okay, so we have then also another item from the design review meeting was the landscape plan needed to be updated to the new site plan, and so that was done here. And also we had a discussion about the location of the HVAC unit such that it would remain out of the primary area of visual concern, which is the limit of which is the face of the house on the side. So as long as these two units are behind that face of that house, these two units would be allowed to be there. In any case, they would be required to be screened from public view. And so they're showing the plantings around here for that screening, as well as the rest of the plantings for their landscape plan. The plants that are shown there, here's the legend. They're proposing a ligustrum recurve set 4 plants around here for that. And those are relatively large and thick plants. However, I'm trying to encourage them to use different plants because those are problematic for other reasons. They're not in violation of, if they use them, that would be fine as far as the regulations go, but they can be poisonous to pets and other things, so they're looking into maybe changing that. Some of the other ones, this is the winter gem boxwood. The next one is another ligustrum, so they might be looking at changing that one. They have muhly grass, they have hydrangeas, they have knockout roses, and then the bed itself will be a mulch bed. And the edge will not have any material per se, it'll just be the cut, the lawn will be cut along that edge. So, let's see. Then they provided some information and images of the materials they're using. We went over this before too. There's their siding, the trim, porch ceilings, handrails, columns, roofing, windows, front door, back door, door to the breezeway, garage doors. They had an issue regarding an existing knee wall that's only a couple inches high, and they're looking to replace that. So this is what we're looking for tonight, was the change to the fencing proposal such that it showed that the fencing would not project into the primary AVC, and therefore could remain up to 6 feet in height from the corner of the garage over to the neighbor's property line on their side of that property line to connect to the neighbor's existing wall, which is this gray line here, and I believe also this one. And then also proposing a new fence along this property line and then back to the house, and all of which is outside the primary AVC. This green line here is a hedge of some sort, or some landscaping features. All right, so this is the proposed fence that they have for along the neighbor's house to the west of the property. I'm going to say north, to the north of the property. They're proposing a 5 foot tall and 1x6 pickets, staggered, etc. Again, we saw this at design review, and this is their first on the left, upper left is the existing. Let me make this bigger. The existing condition, and there's that little knee wall they're talking about with the little vines growing on it there. That'll be removed, and then the new fencing will go in, looking kind of like that, but not exactly, and then they want to do that for essentially along that entire side there. Then along the other property line, they're looking to extend what is the existing, the same kind of design for that is currently existing, to continue that along until they reach their limit of the wall. So it's masonry with a gap filled in with some wrought iron, and then masonry, and then continues in that pattern to the end. Let's see. And that was about reusing the material for under the porch. So, and they listed some of the guidelines here, and some of the reasonings for all that. Okay, so we're ready with our staff report whenever you are.
Okay, thank you. Do the applicants have anything to add to that presentation? Okay, thank you. Any issues with completeness on the application? The fence material was included in the packet Friday, so we've had ample opportunity to see it. No issues. Is there anyone here that chooses to speak that has received notice? Anyone who chooses to speak that did not receive notice? Pardon? What's your question?
I actually don't know what that means.
If you're within 100 feet of the property, you would have received a letter from the city. Okay. And so those people, by definition, have standing. Okay. And no opponents, I gather, either? No one else has been sworn in to testify. I guess we're ready for the staff findings, Mr. Shelley.
Okay. You was preparing for being ready for any comments. All right. Here we go. This is the staff report for the project for the applicant Thomas L. Edwards Construction Incorporated at 1219 National Avenue. There obviously is no historic property name. It is a vacant property. No other descriptions from the National Register or the Sandbeck book. This is a project at 1219 National Avenue to include a new infill 1.5-story house and detached garage. Staff submits the following historic district guidelines as appropriate to this application. For development patterns, 2.1.1, 2, and 3. For utilities, 2.3.1, 2, 3, and 6. For landscaping, 2.4.1, 2, 3, 4. For fences and garden walls, 2.5.1, 2, and 3. For accessory structures, 2.6.1 and 2. For signage, 2.8.1, 2, 3, and 4. For design principles, 3.1.1, 2, 4, and 5. For infill construction, 3.4.1, 2, 3, and 4. For foundations, 4.1.2, 3, 4, and 6. For walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.4 and 5. For windows, doors, and openings, 4.3.2 and 3. For entrances, 4.4.4 and 5. For roofs, 4.5.6. For masonry, 5.1.5 and 6. For paint, 5.4.2, 3, 4, and 6. And contemporary materials, 5.5.1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Statements of reason based on the information contained in the application in staff's judgment are: 1, the project is in the tight weave development pattern. 2, the project is an infill 1.5-story house and detached garage. 3, the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the guidelines. 4, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 5, the project is not incongruous with the guidelines. And the HPC may want to consider the following conditions. The COA is not valid until revised plans according to the changes agreed upon at the hearing are submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval by staff or the HPC prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division. It's the end of our staff report.
Does the applicant have any final comments?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we appreciate all the time you spent with us in design review. Because of that, and that's not subject to what is videotaped and part of the record of the hearing, I do want to briefly go through the matrix we have for infill construction, just so we are aware of some of the things we considered at the design review and explained to you and got your response and met the guidelines that we explained. So start with site and setting. We moved the building around a lot. Were there any comments there? Any lingering concerns?
Well, I think in regard to development pattern, we had a good bit of conversation of the different positions of the other residences on the street and how this particular application as presented tonight is in alignment with that, so it will contribute to that character.
And included in there is fences and garden walls, and we've had an explanation tonight of what you've chosen to do on the fence. Design attributes, scale, mass, proportion, form and rhythm, texture, details. Any comments?
Riverside has a lot of structures that reflect this craftsman style. I think that what's being proposed certainly meets mass, scale, proportion, dimension, details. I think it's a good reflection of the character of the Newbern Historic District.
And any further comments on design components such as the foundation, the windows, doors, and openings, roofs? Well, I think that your explanation probably covered that. Materials are generally substitute contemporary materials because it is new infill construction. But there still is the contemporary materials are still bricks, masonry there. So any other comments on that? Okay, so then any discussion by the members?
Only that I think last meeting we got a little hung up on not having the setbacks nailed down, and we've achieved that tonight. Also, at some point, the garage had to be repositioned in alignment with the massing of the primary residence, and we had an area visual concern problem, and that's been resolved. Fencing, we had a few loose ends there, and so now we're on our own property, as well as we've specified what types of fence should occur in what locations. And then lastly, we had a pretty good conversation about the screening of and the location of the condensing units for the air conditioning. And all that has been specified this evening.
Yeah, I would agree. I think those were the 4 issues that we really talked most about, and those have all been, with this application, they've all been resolved as well.
Thank you. Is anybody ready for a motion then?
Mr. Chairman, let's see, hold on, give me a minute. I would like to make a motion, if I can find the sheet. I'd like to make a motion that we find the application for 1219 National Avenue to be not incongruous with New Bern's Code of Ordinance, sections 15-411 to 15-429, and New Bern's Historic District Guidelines, based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Applicable guidelines: 2.1.1, 2.1.2, 2.1.3. Under utilities, 2.3.1, 2.3.2, 2.3.3, 2.3.6. Landscaping, 2.4.1, 2.4.2, 2.4.3, 2.4.4. Fences and garden walls, 2.5.1, 2.5.2, 2.5.3. Accessory structures, 2.6.1, 2.6.2. Signage, 2.8.1, 2.8.2, 2.8.3, 2.8.4. Design principles, 3.1.1, 3.1.2, 3.1.4, 3.1.5. Infill construction, 3.4.1, 3.4.2, 3.4.3, 3.4.4. Foundations, 4.1.2, 4.1.3, 4.1.4, 4.1.6. Walls, trim, and ornamentation, 4.2.4, 4.2.5, 4.3.2, 4.3.3. Entrances, 4.4.4, 4.4.5. Roofs, 4.5.6. Masonry, 5.1.5, 5.1.6. Paint, 5.4.2, 5.4.3, 5.4.4, 5.4.6. Contemporary materials, 5.5.1, 5.5.2, 5.5.3, 5.5.5, 5.5.6. Findings of fact: the project is in the tight weave development pattern. The project is an infill story and a half with a detached garage. The proposed design, components, and materials meet the requirements of the guidelines, and I'd like to add that they also reflect the historic character of the New Bern Historic District. The zoning administrator and chief building official have reviewed and commented on the project, and the project is not incongruous with the guidelines. For the conditions, since we did not identify any changes that needed to be made to the application presented, I'd like to add the condition that if there are any changes that need to occur as the project starts and moves forward, you need to bring those changes to the HPC staff, and the staff will decide whether that needs to come in front of the HPC.
Second.
The motion, the second, any discussion or questions? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Then we have a vote on issuing the certificate of appropriateness. Do I have a motion to issue the COA?
So move.
Second, please.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
COA is issued. You're ready.
Yay.
And thank you so much for working with us.
Yeah, it's a great design. It'll be a good project.
Gosh, the whole audience.
I'll take it.
If everybody leaves, do we all get to go home?
Okay, so they weren't here for 5 minutes.
I guess not.
Yeah. Moving on with the agenda, 500 Queen Street. Do we have any applicant here at all? We do not.
No.
That application was continued because there are 2 issues with the property that need to go to the Board of Adjustment for their consideration, and that should occur at the end of this month, and they would then be back.
Well, we're not sure yet. I was trying to get a hold of the staff to find out if they're on the agenda for this month, because there's deadlines that are weeks ahead of the meeting. So I'm not quite sure if they're actually going to be on the agenda in a week.
Well, but we still need to do a motion
for
to
this month? Right, but you will.
continue.
Yep. And
So I'll make a motion
since we don't know,
to continue to the next meeting, which is August
20th.
August 20th,
Second.
In this location.
in the same location, yes.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
And just please inform the applicant
Yes.
of that continuation.
Yep.
Is there any old business? Okay, we have an item on the new business, dissolution of work groups, committees, and
Wait,
subcommittees.
did you want to ask about public comment first?
I'm sorry, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, did that, yep. How could I miss? Okay, so do we have any public comments? And just please identify yourself. Yeah, just please identify yourself and address.
My name is Soraya Bliss. I live in Ward 1, 711 Pollock Street. I have a couple of questions. I saw on the agenda that you guys are going to dissolve the work groups and subcommittees. That does require a change in rules of procedure, which I saw in the packet. I was wondering, with the enabling statutes being out of date, why did you guys choose not to make that update while you were making the other updates to the rules of procedure?
The update to the rules of procedure is not an update to the ordinance or the guidelines.
No, that's correct. But in the packet, so the question is, you have a packet, and it's kind of toward the back, with your HPC, it's called the Policies and Rules of Procedure document. That is where your enabling statutes are listed, so the things that give you the power to do what you do. Those have been out of date. I think I'd mentioned it before, and it's just a question of curiosity since 2021. With the rules of procedure update that you're making to dissolve the work groups, I'm wondering why you chose not to update those rules of procedure, update those enabling statutes in your rules of procedure at the same time as you're making other changes.
I'll have to ask staff to comment on that.
I didn't even realize they were in there.
Okay, just for reference, and it would be great, like any change is great change. The rules of procedure, I actually sent a document, a surprise, that has the red line. You have the rules of procedure in your packet, and it's just, I think it's on page 2, it's enabling statutes. They're just outdated, and the new ones need to be put in. I don't know if that's the next meeting, but that would be awesome to update so people can actually look up the enabling statutes. Okay, so that's great. It wasn't intentional. It was just everyone has too much work to do.
Just a general comment of what you heard at the last meeting. I still intend, we're going to update the guidelines and make them standards. We're going to review the rules of procedures and make any updates that seem appropriate.
Yeah,
But
I was
we
just...
haven't discussed them as a committee.
Yeah, I was just curious as to if that was an intentional change because they've been outdated since '21. Okay, the other question I have is you are dissolving all of your work groups. I was wondering if you would share why you decided to dissolve your work groups rather than include the public in the work group, specifically the guideline work group.
We're eliminating the work groups because they were established by a resolution some years ago. I was not here. It was during my break. And so we're now saying that because we're required to do certain things when we have meetings of those work groups, in order to foster some collaboration without having a meeting, we're going to do away with the work groups. And we still need to do the work. And for instance, we still need to discuss design, demolition by neglect houses. We still need to discuss updates. But my opinion is it's in a less formal setting with exchange and collaboration, we might get more done more quickly than every time having to have a meeting and publish the meeting and who's coming and everything.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I certainly appreciate Ms. Melissa's question. One of the items that we have yet to get to is actually, the revision to the rules of procedure. I think we're going to probably have a discussion and some questions related to that will answer your questions. So instead of having to do it twice.
No, that's fine. But
Yeah.
just to reiterate, I intend to do what we outlined at the last meeting.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Then my last is just a comment that I've been showing up at every single one of your meetings, as you know, since April 2nd, and despite meeting some resistance, I have continued to engage, even though it's all by myself sometimes. My request is the same. I would really like to see the guidelines updated using best practices, transparency, and public involvement. And I would like to add one thing to that, and that is a process that doesn't take a year. There were two things that were noted in the last meeting, and I appreciate that you addressed planning to update the guidelines. One thing you said it would take a year to do. As a resident and also a stakeholder in Ward 1 and having to live under the guidelines, it doesn't seem to make sense that changing guidelines in phases isn't a good option. The chair also did say that the board did not make piecemeal changes. If you do a search with the city clerk of guideline changes, there's been at least 3 piecemeal changes since 2020, so I just wanted to correct that for the record. There's a great opportunity to do a phased approach. I did field a survey with just some resources that I had. I'd be happy to share results if anyone cares to see the results. For a phased approach, you could use a survey-based tool in meetings, and you could do rolling changes for really, really inexpensively using existing meetings that involves a broad group of the public, which again, I think you guys have talked about engagement in the past and transparency in the past and inclusion in the past. So if you want to hear the results, I'd be happy to share them with you. If you're interested in any of the tools to do that, I'd also be happy to share the tools and the pricing.
I would ask you, give Commissioner Wika and myself some time to come up with what we think might be happening going forward, and then we'll start talking about that probably at the next meeting. We'll certainly talk about it at design review, and we'll consult with Mr. Shelley, we'll consult with the staff attorney, and I'm not one to go slowly, so we'll see.
That's great. If you want, I'll be at the next design review meeting, and I'm happy to share any information in that meeting or prior to. So thank you for your time. I appreciate
We've
it.
got some great resources. We have Mr. Thompson, we have Mike, we have Tripp can still answer the phone if we have a great question. And so, and Richard is always a great resource. So I think
We had 76 responses to the survey, and 23 people gave their name and said that they would love to engage with the guidelines. So outside of the board, there's a big group of stakeholders that have to live with the rules that are happy to help, and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. So I'm sorry I skipped over that. New business then. Dissolution of work groups, committees, and subcommittees. Oh, I'm sorry, you also have a comment?
I have a technical question. And Mr. Shelley may be able to be the one to answer it. I am racing lots of clocks, so I was hoping to go to the library and print out some things to distribute to y'all because I wasn't able to put them on a drive, and the library had a broken water main today, so they are closed. And I wonder if there's a way to put a camera or to hold an iPad in front of a camera so that I could just share some photographs with you all at some point later this evening. I have no idea. I don't know how that would even possibly be able to be done.
Right.
I could also, I don't know if your cell phone takes text messages. I could forward them. I could send them to you if that somehow would work.
Yeah, so we have a device there to do hard copy, to project that white one over there, but I would have to operate it.
Okay.
Or if a flash drive, that would work.
I don't have a flash drive and I don't have paper. I have.
Okay. So those are both problems.
I'm racing. Well, that's what I was wondering, if somehow the image on the screen.
It may be possible that that device that does the paper will also do your
We'll find out when
tablet.
we get there.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
My apologies. I figured
That's
this was
okay.
the best time to
No,
ask.
Yep.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
He's the owner of 726 Pollock Street. And
Okay.
that's coming
Okay.
up at the end.
Perfect.
Yeah. So he was just taking the opportunity to clarify before you.
So dissolution of work groups, committees, and subcommittees. There were 4 work groups, which were Historic Preservation Award, Guidelines Updates, Historic Property Owners Support Group, and Demolition by Neglect Work Group. And those tasks are still necessary, or at least need discussion, but because of the amount of staff time it would take to provide for meeting notices, minutes, and we're only dealing with 2 typically members of the HPC that are attending these meetings. Nothing can occur, so they always would have to bring forward to the HPC anything that was proposed. So the recommendation of the city attorney's staff is to do away with those. It doesn't mean we can't collaborate amongst ourselves, one-on-one, whatever. How about this? How about that? And then ultimately bring those things when they have a form to the full design review perhaps first, and then ultimately to the HPC. And then even after the HPC brings something forward, we're obligated to go to development services with any major changes. So I think there'll be opportunities for transparency there without having these work groups. And so any comments there from the staff attorney or
No, sir.
Mr. Shelley?
No.
So I think we'll still try to continue what we're doing. The support group for Historic Property Owner Support Group really focused on Dryborough, which is not part of the local historic district, not part of our purview. So that is one that was just really done to try to help that community. So
Well,
with that,
I would like to correct that. Your purview is for all historic preservation in the entire city. It's just that it's not the purview or the jurisdiction of the historic district guidelines.
okay, it's not part of the local historic district.
Correct.
Which is, Okay, thank you.
And that happens to be in a National Register Historic District.
So with that brief discussion, are there any questions amongst the members?
Mr. Chairman, just a little bit more context about kind of the point that we're at, and what I think we're trying to do, having talked with you and the vice chair as well as Jamie today. We put together the rules of procedure back in 2014-15 because we really had nothing other than just a very basic, I'm not even sure you could call it outline as far as what we should be doing as a public board. We had numerous reviews of our draft by the commissioners, taking their input. We had discussions with the city attorney, who actually reviewed and commented specifically for the thing about subcommittees. In state statute 160D-303, it does say, and this is specifically for the Historic Preservation Commission, it does say the commission may appoint advisory bodies and committees as appropriate. What I think has changed, and we knew this this was coming, it just finally got here. The legislature has, and Jamie, you may be able to provide some more insight to this because I think you're on top of it more than we are. We knew that the legislature had made some changes over the past year or so, maybe before that, related to open meetings laws, because I know that was kind of a black hole that the legislature was trying to address, and just trying to keep up with everything. I think the decision has been that the easiest thing to do right now, so that our rules of procedure stay aligned with state statutes, city ordinances, so forth, is just to go ahead and remove the part about the work groups until we figure out how we are going to conduct discussions on updating the rules of procedure, how we're going to have discussions on guidelines, how we're going to have discussions over prevention of demolition by neglect. And I'm confident that with you as the chair and our new vice chair, that you guys can lead us forward and we can come up with a way so that we can make some progress on these things. I think we've been delayed a bit in the sense that we knew this was coming and we didn't know how to actually move forward with some things. But I feel that we can make some progress if we give Jim and Mike a chance to kind of dig into this with Jamie and with Matt, and we can figure out how to move forward. But I agree that the path of least resistance right now, so that we reflect that we're trying to stay in compliance with state statutes and city ordinance, is to remove this section on meetings and come back and update it later once we have a plan.
So Mr. Chair, just to be a bit more helpful, anytime Mr. Thompson is absolutely correct that 160D does give historic preservation commissions the option to create subcommittees, advisory groups, subsets of itself. With 160D, we also have to read the open meetings law consistent with the regulations in 160D. And the open meetings law requires that anytime a public body creates subsets of itself, those subsets are also public bodies and subject to all the open meetings laws, such as minutes, meeting notifications, etc. And over the evolution of time, I think perhaps we drifted away from some of the best practices. And with staffing over the years, I think currently we don't have the resources from a staff perspective to support all of these subcommittees with meeting minutes and notifications and everything. I think we have great notes from staff, but to be able to formalize those things, process those things, in addition to design review, in addition to multiple quasi-judicial hearings per month, is burdensome. So if there is a way for you all to collaborate amongst yourselves, and certainly continue with the good work that you are doing and sharing ideas and cooperating and collaborating with the HPC administrator, and also inviting members of the public to share their thoughts and ideas by having general public comment, by inviting them to share information with staff. That still facilitates the collaborative process that I think you all are trying to facilitate without overly taxing administrative resources in a way that doesn't necessarily help you move the ball forward as efficiently as you might otherwise could.
I think that's a good sign. I think it also means that we'll, as a body, have to do more discussion at work sessions and things. But I think that's good. I think that'll be helpful.
And we've had that discussion before. I agree fully.
Yeah.
We need to take more of a role on some things that those committees or work groups were doing, but not create another empire that we have to manage. So, yeah, thank you.
And I think Jamie's point about having the public be part of that makes a lot of sense.
As appropriate.
As appropriate.
Yeah, but we don't want to start with a blank piece of paper and say, what are we going to do today? I think we need some structure, and hopefully that's what we can give to it. So with that said, any more questions or comments about that idea? So do I have a motion to approve the resolution before you? So be it resolved by the New Bern Historic Preservation Commission that the amended New Bern Historic Preservation Commission policies and rules of procedure, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference, be and the same here and hereby approved this 16th day of July 2025. And the text of that change is that I don't have the red. Excuse me. Okay. The text of the change, the line through the word subcommittees on page 9, and the text is the chairman may appoint subcommittees consisting of HPC members to research and report on matters of the HPC. Subcommittees may be appointed during regular business meetings. Subcommittees may meet and discuss factual details of their assigned tasks. Subcommittees may not make decisions for the HPC, but may present findings. In particular, subcommittees may not make any recommendation related to COA applications on any hearing. That ends the text of the amendment.
So that'll be stricken from the policies and rules of procedure.
And so we're adopting the new rules of procedure effective, revised July 16th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Excuse me. Might have been me.
Pretty excited, huh?
So, administrators report on major COAs denied.
So you can see the, I'll pull it up here in a second. You can see the list of, under B, the major COAs, extensions, amendments, and conditional approvals that have been issued the past month. We had 4. And then minor COAs that were issued in the same time period, we had 3, with about 20 waiting in line, essentially. And then our other items and updates by the administrator, I'd like to present a prevention of demolition by neglect case report. So that until recently dissolved work group, 10 minutes ago or 3 minutes ago, work group for prevention by demolition by neglect has been working with the homeowner at 726 Pollock Street, and I'll just show you some quick photographs real quick. So you might recognize it by these photographs here. That's the 2 different street views for that. And then I want to go over, because one, we have 2 new members, but also I'm pretty sure several of you probably never have had any occasion to acquaint yourself with the process for demolition by neglect. So I'll just go over that real quick as well. So our ordinance, not the guidelines, has this chapter or subchapter 15-429, which lists the standards by which all structures in the historic district can be viewed with regard to prevention of demolition by neglect. And of course, the intent is, the main word is prevention. So we don't want houses to get to the point, or any building to get to the point where it's in such bad condition that a developer comes in and says, look, it's nothing we can do, it's in such bad shape, we have to demolish it. And then you end up agreeing because it is in that bad a condition. So we're trying to prevent that. So these standards were established. There's 10 of them listed here. First, deterioration of any exterior feature so as to create or permit the creation of any hazardous or unsafe conditions to life, health, or other property. That would probably be an obvious one. Deterioration of exterior walls, foundations, or other vertical support that causes leaning, sagging, splitting, listing, or buckling. 3, deterioration of flooring or floor supports, roofs, or other horizontal members that causes leaning, sagging, splitting, listing, or buckling. Number 4, deterioration of external chimneys that causes leaning, sagging, splitting, listing, or buckling. Number 5, deterioration or crumbling of exterior plasters or mortars. Number 6, ineffective waterproofing of exterior walls, roofs, and foundations, including broken windows or doors. Number 7 is defective protection or lack of weather protection for exterior wall and roof coverings, including lack of paint or weathering due to lack of paint or other protective covering. 8, rotting holes and other forms of decay. And 9, deterioration of exterior stairs, porches, handrails, window and door frames, cornices, entablatures, wall facings, and architectural details that causes delamination, instability, loss of shape and form, or crumbling. And lastly, number 10, heaving, subsidence, or cracking of sidewalks, steps, or pathways. The next section has to do with downtown and boarding up windows, but we'll get to the next one after, perhaps later here in a few minutes. Once the commission is once a property is brought to the attention of the Historic Preservation Commission, you may file a petition listing specific defects with the Chief Building Inspector, requesting that he act under the following procedures. This is all listed out. I'm not going to read those, thank goodness.
Excuse me, Matt,
there is a
question. Does that require a formal action by the commission?
Yes, you will have to vote to file that petition. So there is a procedure that's been established in our very own Policies and Procedures Manual. I'll get to that in a minute as well. Wanted to go over some more photographs of this particular case. And primarily, you can see in most of these the paint is peeling off, but there are some other more specific issues as well. I don't think anyone's quite sure what the start coloring is under here, and maybe we'll get that answer later, but we can also see paint peeling along the edge of this as well. So peeling paint, and we can go through a number of things, number of pictures of that, but we don't need to belabor it. And then we have, I don't know maybe there's something there with the front porch flooring, I'm not sure. Then there's some more paint peeling, sorry. And again. So recently the owner has been making some repairs and been covering the patching material with these tie-back covers so that it can cure properly. And here's one of the window sills that we'll talk about. And then there's also clear plastic that's been up there for at least 7 years and now finally has been removed. So I want to make it clear that because he's been working with us and we've been working with him, he's been making some progress. And then the roofing needs a repaint job. So I mentioned the policies and procedures. These are the policies and procedures in your manual. So just going to quickly, I'm not going to read these, but notice that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all various steps in the process. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We actually have 17 different steps in order to go through the prevention demolition by neglect process. However, any one of this entire process can be terminated at any point if any property owner happens to fix the problems. And then that's the end of the story. The case is closed. Some of the very first steps are things like just applying for, or someone submitting a complaint form, investigating it, et cetera, contacting the owner, working with the owner. In this particular case, the complaint form was filed in 2018. This is that complaint form. It's a two-sided form which includes all those 10 standards again. And then this was the, I guess, the notes that were taken by the person, my predecessor at the time in 2018 when they went to inspect. So we see something about rot and plastic on the back and missing paint and something about the porch and checking off a couple of the others. So that's how they did it. And they used just administratively, they used a flow chart for the process that they created to notate when things happened. And so on 7/26/18, they sent their first letter to the owner at the addresses that they knew about, which turns out wasn't a very good address, and then sent again in August, and again, so all the letters came back undeliverable. So they were kind of left in a quandary with what to do at that point, not being able to contact the owners in any way. They then left the job, and I took over in 2019, and took us a year to find actually how we could contact the owner. So there was a big long lag in the process. But you can see this whole process here this is a nice simple one here that was done just to go through the general process. And you can see in any case, at any point, the case can be closed for a number of different reasons, especially if they completed the work. But in the end, as everyone expects, that somebody would potentially get fines for not complying. Well, that takes 17 steps before you get there. So, all right. And one of the steps is to notify the HPC. Let's see, let's go back up there for a second. That's here at this one here. So I actually modified this so that we could refer to it and catch all the sub-steps in the process as well. But here we sent our first letter. This was one of the letters that did not end up getting delivered to the owner in 2018. This is the notification letter. And then also that was accompanied with the attachments of all of the standards at the time, but the owner never got this. So this is just to show you, again, kind of give you an idea of the process. So this now is the new flow chart, which has more details. Kind of the same, the major steps, but then we have these sub-steps as well that are all in those policies and procedures, just taken out one sentence or one point at a time. So right now, tonight, we are at number 4. Yes, and numbered them as well on the flow chart, numbered them so people can follow along. We're at number 4, and I'm reporting the potential demolition by neglect to the HPC. Then at the HPC meeting, whole nother step. Number 5, HPC determines whether to proceed with the demolition by neglect. Should you not, the case is closed. And then there's 2 different paths based on if it's a contributing structure or not. If it is, then at the HPC meeting, the HPC files a petition to the chief building inspector, if you think it's ready for that. Then, just so you know what happens then, is the CBI, the chief building inspector, inspects the property and determines if it meets any of those standards, or violates any of those standards, rather, to determine it as demolition by neglect status. And then they'll report the findings and priority repairs to the HPC and HPCA. If they decide it's not really demolition by neglect, then the case is closed. But should they proceed, step 8A is that within 15 days, the chief building inspector issues a notice of demolition by neglect to the property owner, including a list of violations, and the notice of the demolition by neglect hearing to be held within 30 to 45 days. That's a hearing in his office by him, not here. So then 9A is within 30 to 45 days of the notice. They hold that hearing with the property owner, and they work out the repair order. He explains appeal rights and petition the HPC for economic hardship is an option. And then the HPCA, I would place the property on public demolition by neglect list. And then 9C is the property owner accepts the orders, files for appeal, or petitions for economic hardship. The economic hardship one sets boxes on the left, whereas otherwise it continues down to number 10 here, etc. So that's, and you can, look at on your own the rest of those items there. That's enough for tonight. Hopefully it never even gets that far. At any point when the repairs are done, the case ends up being closed. So,
If I can ask a question, we're on step 4 then.
Yes.
And then step 4, you notify us.
Correct.
But then step 5 is we evaluate. I wonder
That's
if it would be
correct.
possible to move step 4 to design review in the future, so we actually have a chance to evaluate by looking at the property.
Until recently, you weren't empowered to vote at that meeting.
No, but you could tell us.
Oh, I see. I got you.
I'm just saying that
Right.
because in a demolition case, we're required to go look at the property, and I believe in July of 18,
Yeah.
you and I were
Yeah.
looking at this property
Yeah.
with the administrator at the time.
Yeah.
And so,
So, that's, and if you feel like tonight is too early to make that decision, that's fine. You can decide we can move that.
I hate to do it by photos, and how
Yeah.
does everybody else feel about that?
Agreed. Well, some things are obvious, right? But,
Right. And the owner
Others
is
are
here.
not.
You're the owner? Yeah. And so
yeah.
we know how to get in touch with them,
Yes,
and they're now responsive to us.
yes,
So
yes.
does that seem fair that we
Yeah.
Yeah,
take this
we-
under advisement for the next meeting? And
Yeah, the goal of what we're trying to do with prevention of demolition by neglect is we try to, the goal is not to beat the property owner over the head. The goal is, how can we protect and preserve a historic structure, particularly a contributing structure. I believe this house was built in 1781. I mean, it is a very important structure to New Bern. So, we always want to work with the property owner, and the whole whole thing with petitioning the chief building inspector, which I think we have done, Jim, I don't know, I can remember
a few times.
twice, 3 times. That's kind of the nuclear option, because when it gets to that point, it's pretty much out of our hands, and the chief building inspector, it's pretty much, okay, here's what the property owner needs to do, and that's
I think
it.
the one down the street from your house came to that.
Yes.
Yeah, it did. So yes, I mean, gosh, I am sorry. You're being responsive to Matt, I guess, now. And so can we just say we'll take this under advisement, we'll all drive by, take a look at the house, and then consider what's next? And did you have any comments?
I do. I also have some questions.
Okay.
Some questions. I don't understand.
You have to talk to the microphone.
Yeah.
Hearings, but they usually have.
Yeah, if you want to come up, I mean, the questions are probably best for Matt later on, rather than at the hearing. But if you have comments, I mean, it sounds like you're here now.
I am, and I have been for quite some time, and it's mystifying to me.
Yeah, the letters were being sent to Florida, which apparently may have been an address that he was using 10 years, who knows,
In
before.
2018, he was
Yeah,
living in Florida, I
Right,
believe.
right, yeah.
Well,
So,
Sir, if you could speak into the microphone.
I'm so sorry. In 2018, so just to put it in a little bit of context, I don't know how many people know anything about me, and some of the things about where I am are a little misplaced. So I do preservation. I do preservation planning. I work with sites all over the Southeast. We do a fair amount, or had until 2020 when everything changed, right? Doing a lot of work in the Caribbean Basin, hence Miami was where we were frequently using as a base of operations. I'm speaking to you, but I'll try to cast my eyes about. So that's my context. Also, that building, my father and I bought that place in 1991, I believe. Just for a little further, I don't really like to harp on this a bit too much, but we're a bit of a perambulatory family. Pan South, I usually refer to it as Virginia, North Carolina, and Florida. And Florida is from 1825. My great-grandfather left here and moved to what was at the time called Middle Florida, and did plantations and things like that there. So anyway, we're connected, and we value our ties to, I say we, my father died in 2005, but I have cousins and all sorts of people who we value our ties to all these places, and we care about all kinds of things that are usually antiquarian. So just to put this, that's enough about me. About this building, yes, indeed, it's 1780, 1781, something like that. So that's the first range of rooms, the full width of the front. In approximately 1820, there was a second range of rooms added. So when you look at that side view, you would have had a much steeper gable roof originally. Yes, thank you. That would be helpful. And I might want to try the little experiment with the. I think you have a full-on view someplace.
that'd be good.
Yeah, that'll work. So, how do I do this?
I guess our concern is, are you ready to start working with Matt to decide what?
Yes, and I have been working with Matt, and I'm here a lot.
To
And
go through a list
there,
of-
that's perfect. Thank you.
Go
So,
through his list of requirements and then see where you stand on those. Is that fair? I mean, that's.
and I just want to say that I'm a little confused as to how we arrived at this evening, because several weeks ago, unfortunately, I was not informed of it, but I had spoken with Matt earlier in the week, and I'd said that, these things have been done. I'm going to leave some things open for you all to see, and so please do that. Matt had mentioned that he wouldn't be able to do it to the next week. I had also thought that I absolutely must complete things by whatever date that was, which was, I think, June 4th. Then it just seemed there was a lot of shifting around back and forth.
Well, again, as you've heard the discussion, we
Yes.
were really not that involved. I believe there was
Yes.
one commissioner that sits on the group.
Indeed. And Gregory came on that Friday, and so some neighbors alerted me that, hey, they're at your house. And I was doing some things for USDA at the time, so just to condense this really quickly, we met at that time, or they met at that time. I got there basically just as they were disbanding. I was able to speak with Matthew briefly, and also I saw Gregory, and so I basically ran up and accosted him. So my apologies, and not mean, just like I need to talk to you. So we looked at the building, and I said, I want to make sure you see these things because the Tyvek covering was over these consolidated patches. Here's the show and tell part for you all. I don't know if Richard wants to pass these around and start it. These are pieces. I'll put two here, and I'll start over this. These are pieces of Abitron, which is a consolidate material. These are pieces of Abitron, which is a consolidant material. It's a two-part. It behaves like an epoxy, but it isn't an epoxy. It's plant-based, like people's diets they want to have these days. So it's a trade thing that the company has, but it is soybeans and pine resin. And you mix these together, and essentially you get something that is somewhat like wood. And so you'll see I've just scrunched that up. The two parts, mix them together, and it hardens. And then you can saw it, you can sand it. It is extremely useful. It is about the closest thing that you can use to wood as a consolidant material. It would be very beneficial for people to use it more often. And no, I'm not a trade representative for them. So that's what I've been using. And
I mean, those kinds of things are up to Matt to look at it, and where in the guidelines that might be.
And apparently it takes a good while for it to cure.
well, it can cure quickly, but if I use it in low temperatures, that's where the problem was. So I was trying to meet the dates that I had established on the calendar. Anyway, back to last Friday. My understanding at the end of that, Gregory and I shook hands. Do I understand correctly that I am on track, I'm doing the right things at the right time? And I was told yes. And then I confirmed that with Matt, and yes, you are. And then last week it just kind of exploded, and I was shocked.
Well, I guess give us this next design review, which is the first Wednesday of August. We'll look at it. I think most of us will have a chance to at least drive around the house, if not walk around. And we'll give Matt further guidance after that.
Okay.
As to whether it goes to step 5 next, or we have other questions or questions of you.
Sure.
But again, we're transitioning from a different group to us.
I see that, and I just want to make sure I've understood that. So the demolition by neglect work group does not exist as of half an hour ago,
right,
something
but
like that.
Some of those people may still be advisors because of their expertise.
Okay.
Matt would call on them for information, but we don't know that yet. We have not established that.
Okay.
Okay, but appreciate you coming. And,
Sure. Thank you all. So what
August.
I'm sorry, I had
August
deadlines for National
first-
Park Service grants due at midnight last night, and I'm a little
Yeah, the
reeling.
first Wednesday of each month is design review. It's more informal. We don't make any decisions at those.
Mhm.
And we typically don't take public comment, but this could be on the agenda, so we could take your comments. And it's not held here, it's held on First Avenue
Yes.
in that building.
But just as far as what was presented this evening, we are not doing that now. Is that correct?
No, we're
Okay.
not. We're taking what Matt has here, and we'll talk further about it after we've had a chance to look at the property
Sure.
closely.
And
ourselves.
if you want to coordinate with me, that might make it easier for
But
you
we
to
don't
see
need to
things.
go in, we're only outside.
No, even outside, because, I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah, it's okay.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in the past, we have asked potential DB and property owners to come to the design review, so we could really have a discussion about, the ins and outs and details.
That's what I said, if he
Yes,
he
so
could be on the agenda.
just to make it clear, Alec, would it be possible for you to be there at the design review meeting on Wednesday? It's August 6th?
I don't want to do what it sounds like I'm about to do. I'm not delaying.
Yeah, I know.
I want to meet with you all,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
all the time. But I do have sites distributed across the southeast, so I need to check on
I
that.
mean, it's August 6th, and you can let Matt know.
Sure. Okay.
And I would say that even, man, I believe it is possible to arrange for him to dial in.
Oh, yeah.
If
Okay.
necessary. So if
Sure.
you're out and you want to do it remotely,
Thank you.
we'll have questions, and we want to make sure that we're working together
Yes,
to
absolutely.
preserve the
So-
property. It's not to beat up a property owner.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has gotten to the point where we do have to, bear down on them because they're not responding, but just the fact that you're here tonight.
Yeah, and I will gladly be here.
Yes.
I do feel a little beat up this past week, I
Yes.
must say. So, thank you all, and I'd love to speak with you about materials, appropriate materials for buildings. I think I've heard that Mr. Is it Work or Wika?
It's weekend.
Okay, thank you. Is very, very interested in conservation materials and is working on a building on Johnson Street. So
Something like that.
Okay, I don't mean to. Love to have that conversation. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Hey, Matt, I'd like your flow chart. That was very useful. But I noted that your steps are different than the steps that are in the procedures. The numbering is different. It's the same text.
I just added A, B, C, D for the various different things, but
Because it looks like we're in 4 or 5.
Yeah, the steps are a little out of sync. This is something that needs to be updated in the rules of procedure. I think, Matt, we discussed this, probably a year ago. It's just, getting to the point where the document gets updated. But I think what Matt has done is certainly more detailed, and it's the flow that he's following, but it is not so egregiously out of line with the general outline that we currently have in the rules of procedure.
And I think by following something more akin to a demolition procedure is probably better
Yeah.
for interaction with the applicant, simply because we don't really have enough information, I don't think, tonight.
Yeah.
So, now, had we been talking about this in design review for weeks or months, maybe we would be. And that's really what used to occur.
Yeah.
That we would have been talking about the ones that were starting to bubble up to the top. And so we were more conversant. So maybe we can get back to that. But design review is going to have to change. Yeah.
I stand corrected, Matt. Your numbers do line up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That's okay. So anything else from the commissioners? Any further business or comments? A motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Sorry, who made the motion and who made the